Hey, friends! Time to take a look at a classic picture, and this time it's a war movie. Well, sort of. Actually, it takes place after the war, the First World War in this case, and it deals with survivor guilt and all of that. So, this time we're talking about Broken Lullaby from 1932. Our story goes like this. It's the closing days of World War I, and the war will end in just a couple of weeks. Our hero, a French soldier, encounters a German soldier, who he promptly shish-kebabs. Then he feels bad about it. He helps the German finish a letter he was writing before Fritz fades out. Now the war is over, and our hero is racked with guilty guilt. He confesses to a priest about what happened, but finds no solace. He decides the only way to be absolved is to go to this German's family and tell them, sorry. He makes his way to the dead dude's village and is seen placing flowers on his grave. This causes a bit of a stir, since why would a Frenchman be there? And why would he do that? He then meets the dead dude's fiancée, and later his family, and he really wants to confess, but he just doesn't dare. Instead, he says he knew their son in France, keeping it very vague. They assume the two met before the war. As time passes, the mom and dad take him under their wing and sort of adopt him, and he comes to love the pair. Now he can't bring himself to tell them the truth, and despite being very overwrought, he just can't spit it out. So he keeps hanging around with these people and getting himself in deeper and deeper. He even starts making time with the dead dude's chick. I mean, what the hell? Can our hero tell the family the truth? Will they accept him or reject him? And, dude, seriously, what the hell? In our cast, we have Nancy Carroll as the German chick. I rather liked her in this. She was in The Shop-Worn Angel with Gary Cooper in 1928, The Kiss Before the Mirror, and Transatlantic Merry-Go-Round, a Jack Benny movie from 1934. I always liked that one. She gave up pictures in 1938 and went on to great success on Broadway, coming back to do a bit of TV in the 1950s, including a TV version of The Egg and I, in which she starred with her daughter, Patricia. The great Lionel Barrymore plays the dead dude's dad. You know him best as the Scrooge-like Mr. Potter in It's a Wonderful Life. That's right, George Bailey! And the Dr. Kildare series of movies, he was in those, among tons of other things. Phillips Holmes is our hero, the tortured soul with the hard case of survivor's guilt. He's really quite good, and he starred with Carroll in two other pictures, The Devil's Holiday in 1930 and Stolen Harvest in 1931. He really is fantastic and conveys pain writ large. This guy could have gone on to great heights, but it was not to be. The reason you probably never heard of this guy is that he got some really lousy breaks, such as Nana in 1934, a movie that bombed harder than the Enola Gay. The studio was trying to make a star out of his co-lead, Anna Sten, but that never happened. He appeared with Loretta Young the same year in Caravan and was in a few other pictures, but eventually had to go back to the stage. He later died in an airplane accident in 1942. Comedic actress Zazu Pitts appears as a housemaid, and Marjorie Main, Ma Kettle from the Ma and Pa Kettle series of comedies, including the movie version of The Egg and I with Claudette Colbert, is here as our George Irving and Tully Marshall. Broken Lullaby was directed by the legendary Ernst Lubitsch, and the so-called Lubitsch Touch is on full display here. Lubitsch was, of course, best known for his comedies, and while Broken Lullaby is not a comedy, there are humorous moments sprinkled throughout, and Lubitsch makes the most of them. This movie is not perfect. Broken Lullaby was made in 1932. The silent era ended around 1929, when sound came in. By 1930s, silents were all but gone. See, there was a problem. The new sound equipment was unwieldy. Filmmakers didn't really know how to work with it. Actors were sort of anchored to one spot a lot of the time, since microphones had to be hidden in flower pots and stuff. And the cameras made so much noise, they had to be housed in soundproof boxes. You can see some of that in my deep dive video on Murder at the Movie Studio, where the movies all take place on movie lots. The point is, for a while there was a loss of the fluidity of camera motion once possible with silent films. They had to almost relearn the language of cinema to accommodate sound equipment, which made for some stage-bound looking productions. Now, this is 1932, but you still see some holdovers from the teething pains, both from that as well as the older style of acting in silent films. Taking that into account, the picture is still very good. It only runs some 77 minutes, but admittedly it feels a bit longer than it needed to. Like, our hero gets all upset and goes to rush out of a room, but then we see him just standing in the doorway looking sad. That happened several times. They could have trimmed some of that down. Even so, it's quite interesting to see the trauma of survivors' guilt explored, and even, I don't know what you'd call it, transference? Well, anyway, there's a psychological paper in here somewhere. I mean, it's a dead dude's chick, dude! Ugh. While it does sort of drag a bit at times, Broken Lullaby is well worth screening for 2 scenes, if nothing else. Holmes's confession to a priest that he committed a murder, and Barrymore telling a group of his friends at a local bar about the nature of war and how to forgive. Really first-class moments that stand out. So, flaws and all, I'm giving Broken Lullaby 2.5 paws up. It's a very unusual war movie. Well, post-war movie anyway, and it's an unusual topic you don't get to see very often. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.